Hello and welcome to the third rail. We have another new addition to the collection this week. I recently received this little Class 1200 of the Dutch railways and I thought we should have a first look at it together. First, let's have a quick model overview. This model is one of the so-called Märklin classics in my opinion. It was available for sale in the catalogue for a vast number of years and it remained virtually unchanged from the day it was introduced in the program. Our Class 1200 first appeared in the catalogue in 1965. It came in the shape of a lovely Prussian blue liveried locomotive and was offered under reference number 3051. This model remained for sale until the mid-80s. In the early 70s, 1972, the Dutch railways introduced a livery change, and to reflect this, Märklin decided to issue an additional model based on the exact same tooling as the 3051. This model appeared in the catalogue under number 3055. It remained for sale also until the mid-80s, but had a few changes here and there. The last one was made in 1978-79 and consisted in updated pantographs and a new running number, the running number 1205, which is the model we are looking at today. On to the few vital statistics. The model measures 19.6 centimeters and has a complete metal construction, that's chassis and body. It is driven by a bogie with 6 powered wheels and 4 traction tires. It has electric headlights which are not directional, so they are permanently on both sides. Working pantographs for overhead line operation and simple coupling hooks on both sides. All pretty standard for a Märklin model of the time. Let's move on to a quick high-level overview of the prototype. Here we have a picture of it in real life in Maastricht station around 1982. This locomotive was employed for all sorts of purposes and is a child of the Marshall Plan which was offered to the Netherlands after World War II to help its reconstruction. The Dutch railways had made the decision to electrify their network. There was no capability in the country to produce electric engines. Therefore, the US companies Baldwin Locomotive Works in partnership with Westinghouse Electric Corporation were commissioned for the conception of the new engine. The locomotives themselves would be produced in the Netherlands by Werkspoor and INAF, and the initial quantity of locomotives was supposed to be 75 units. The first trials took place in 1951 and they entered the service as soon as 1952. They were initially in a turquoise livery. This colour proved difficult to keep clean, so the last 10 units were delivered in a brown livery, as was common with all freight locomotives of the NS at the time. These were also the last units produced, as a decision had been made to order more of the Class 1100 in the meantime. All 25 units received a Prussian blue livery as early as 1954. Here is our model in 1956 at The Hague. In 1974 a new livery was introduced, but its deployment was only completed by 1983, so you could have seen both liveries on the Dutch network until 1983. In the early 80s, the units received a little facelift. You can see on the picture the different light arrangement, for example. The units remained in service until their retirement in 1998-1999. 5 units were purchased by private companies. From these units, only 1 is in regular service at the moment. Another 3 are currently in preservation in various museums. For more detailed information, I've left a few links in the description, and Google is your friend, as with a lot of things these days. Now, let's have a look at my 3055. So let's start with the box, and here it is. The locomotive is the 1205, that's correct. The box is also the correct shape, and it's the right number. The box looks okay for its age. There's a few storage marks here and there, but nothing worth mentioning. Let's have a look inside. Come on, there we go. Yeah. The minimalist instructions Märklin gave at the time are there, and we'll take the model out. Oops. Right, we're going to put this little thing on its presentation rail and have a closer look. This was a cheap buy, by the way, so let's not expect too many sparkles on this one. And here we are on the presentation rail. I can already see a few things here and there, but we'll start from the left. And we'll have a closer look, moving slowly to the right. So let's go. As we can see already on this side, there are quite a few scratches and also quite a few marks which are caused by some dirt on the surface, which I'll be able to remove. The handrails are partly rusted. That I can address. That's not a problem. But it's not a mint model. So if we look at the cab area from another angle, we can see that the rust has set in on the handrails. But you can remove that easily, as I mentioned. There's a few products that do that very nicely. Let's move to the face, and we can see 1 or 2 paint scratches here as well, and also a bit of rust on the handrails at the front. And let's have a look at the other side now. So this one looks a bit better. We have a bit of dirt and minimal scratches. We can see that the silver paint is starting to peel off a bit on the vents, which is normal as well for the silver paint used by Märklin in that era. And let's have a look at the nose. Here we have nothing worth mentioning. Well, at last a plus point. And let's have a look at the wheels. Well, everything has been used quite extensively, I think, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But at least everything's there and nothing's amiss. Very good. On to the top, and here we have nothing to report as far as paint defects are concerned, but of course there's the elephant in the room. You'll probably have spotted that one of the pantographs is not the right one. Fortunately, I have a few spares, so that can be corrected easily. So let's give this model a function test now. And it seems to be behaving itself. Actually, it won't need much done to it technically, because it's already behaving very well. Just a bit of oil, probably a clean-up of the motor, and we should be in business. Well, that's very, very good. So let's have a look at cars now, and of course for those the Märklin 4049 immediately comes to mind, the Plan E carriages of the Dutch railways, but any other freight cars involved in international traffic from the Märklin catalogue in the era could have been pulled by this locomotive. And of course I happen to have a choice of cars or wagons in the collection, which will all look very nice, I'm sure, behind this lovely class 1200 when I come to include it in one of the upcoming running sessions. But for now, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. It's very much appreciated. I'd also like to thank the existing and recent subscribers to the channel. I'm still surprised that people are interested in my production, so much so that they subscribe to the channel and sometimes give me a like. It's very rewarding and keeps me going. Thanks very much again. Bye for now.